This light unit's looking a bit crusty and a bit mouldy and a bit mildewy and a bit dried out and cracked and crazed and no good. I mean, it works, but it's kind of letting the look of the car down a little bit. You can't really clean that kind of stuff off. It's tight in between the moulded parts of the light and that stuff on top. The side repeater there is cracked. Front indicator, again, I don't know if you can see that, you can just see scratches all over, crazing. It just looks cloudy and nasty, and there's stains on there, there's a bit of a crack there. It's just letting the look of the car down a little bit. The headlight, it's not too bad. Wiper blade is absolutely gone. The headlight's not too bad in itself, but you can just see a little brown mark there where the reflective coating on the inside of the reflector has worn away or burned away over time. So yeah, I feel like we need to do a bit of a refresh on these. First thing we need is a very special tool to remove the grille. That is a pair of fingers, or a finger and a thumb. Squeeze these clips, pull these clips out, one-handed. Once that's out, you can just pull the grille forward and lift it up. Let's just place that there for safekeeping. And we'll remember where our clips are. Now that we've got the grille out of the way, we can access the headlight fixings. So what we're going to want to do, well, we can access the headlight fixings on one side, which are through here. You can see a bolt there, it's a 10mm bolt, and a bolt up there, that's a 10mm bolt. By undoing those two, it will release the headlight from the inner end. It'll also release this plastic guard that sort of separates the area where the air comes in to feed the radiator and the area where the headlight takes up. Oh, look at that! Look at a nice little present down there, a piece of radiator. Guess what's on the list for replacement there then? Lovely. Luckily that's not any part of the core and there's no leaks, but that'll just be the bottom row of fins saying goodbye and letting me know that it's time for a new rad. So to get to the other side, we're going to need to take the indicator unit out, which is also the parking lamp, side lamp combo that kind of comes on all the time and you can't get it off. Daytime driving light, whatever you want to call it, that comes off. Again, you're going to need the same special tool. Let's just get some light on the job. Looking here, as you can see, there's a plastic clip there. So if we press that in and push forward, the light unit just slides out. You can untwist these bulb connectors in situ and then pull it out, but there is just enough cable to get them out whilst after you've removed the light from the area. And as you can see there, look at that. There's a break in the seal anyway, so yeah, it was failing. It really was. So I'm just going to press these together and unclip these electrical connections on the bulb holder. Again, these are all dried on and stiff. I may need two hands for this one. Okay, so that's them off. You can see they're in a certain pattern, so as long as you put the bulb holder back in the correct area, you can't mix up the plugs when you put them back on. Put that on the floor for a minute, that's going to be replaced anyway. What that does do though is it exposes this bolt and this bolt, which will give us the other two that need taking off in order to get the headlight out. So let's get those 10mm bolts off now. 1, 2, and then around the other side. Let's get it on there properly, we don't want to round anything off. Three. That one is sort of captive. It's held in by this. You could sort of fiddle it out, but it will stay put if you just leave it there. And then the top one Can't really see that one, but I know I can see it. And there we go. Let's get the top bolt, because that will fall out and get lost. Put that in a safe place. Put the two from this side in a safe place. And then this unit will pull out now. We do have something to disconnect though. We've got a connector down here. That one. It looks a little bit beaten up, so I'll just press the tabs in on this. Can't quite get the camera in there whilst my hand's in there, but press the tabs in and wiggle, and look at that. The conveniently, the bulkhead, which allows the wires to go through, has conveniently come away from the main body of the headlight before the clip has let go, because the clip is so dried and crusted and sort of, shall we say, combined and fused in position. So now I'm going to have to use two hands and wiggle that clip free, and we're going to have to re-glue that that bulkhead connector on in place. Okay, a little bit of wrestling and that's come apart. So we now have the whole headlamp unit with wiper and mechanism, and an unsealed connector bulkhead. The only thing left is to disconnect this pipe which feeds the wiper washer, and I believe the easiest way to do that is just to pull off from this connector, which may or may not be a two-handed job. No, it wasn't. So that's there. We need to make sure that doesn't get lost. Then there's this electrical connector that goes through into the main engine compartment, and as I wiggle it, you can see it wiggles that plug. So again, push on the clip. It's already been molested, this clip, to the point where the clip doesn't even work anymore. The locking tab doesn't work anymore on it. There's no locking tab on the back, so it's just a case of jiggling this connector apart. Let's do that with two hands. Okay, I got that apart, so now I can pull this down through this hole, and the whole unit is off, separate and ready to work on. You don't have to do this to change the bulbs, but I want to do a bit more than changing the bulbs. I don't know what's been going on in there. Oh, that'll be the wax oil that I had applied. A little bit of overspray. So obviously from here you can now see this panel is loose. This panel can slide out and we can clean that up as well. Not a problem. So allows us to inspect and clean the areas that were previously covered by the light and the indicator and the grille. Just looking over it, there's two bulb covers, they're both held by clips and locking tabs, and none of them seem to be missing or damaged. We've got the headlight adjustment leveling system, which has 1, 2, 3 adjusters. I imagine for adjusting the high beam, the main beam, and possibly the main beam in two directions, or even the fog lights might be adjustable. I'm not too sure. What I do know is that the adjustment that they're at the moment is correct, so I'm not going to mess with those. The car is fully operational, all bulbs work, all functions work, so there's nothing to repair here. There's just checking that anything could have been damaged that we weren't aware of. The glass looks in good shape. So we've got 3, 4, 5, 6 clips holding the glass in, none on the sides, weirdly. We've got a piece of trim here that's painted in the same colour as the car, which I believe is dark olive green metallic. The wiper arm looks to be in okay condition. It's not great, it looks like it may have been painted or something, but the wiper blade itself is just completely knackered. The washer nozzle tube, very dirty, but Doesn't seem to be perishing or anything or cracking, so we'll give that a clean up and see if we can keep that. I can't see any breaks in any wires. None of it feels too stiff and brittle. That's good. I've got a couple of rusty screws, but not too bad. I imagine that what they are is clamps that are holding the glass on under some kind of pressure. Yeah, I don't quite get the need for them if there's already clamps holding the glass on. But there you go. Can't see any other damage, so I might as well start where we need to go on. So first things first, I'm just going to use some super glue gel. There's probably better things to use, but I don't have anything hanging around that I can use. Right, there's a good amount there now around the whole area. I just want to make sure that not only does it stick back, but it also seals. So I'm using an excessive amount. Right, there we go. So that's pushed back in to place. Just make sure that square connector is aligned, because OCD. We should be able to gently lift this cover for the nut. These can become brittle. I'm just going to wriggle it out gently. There we go. So there's no damage there. Nice little plastic cover. We can pop that there. Then we've got, I think this is an 8mm nut here. I think you can get a socket on. Yes, you can. Just crack that off. Pop the nut there. Now we'll need to. This has been pressed onto a tapered spline, I believe. So this will need to be eased off. So a little bit of back and forth. Yeah, there we are. We're off. Pull the tube through. So we've got the wiper arm here. The wipers just fell out. That would usually just clip into that little groove there by this little pin. You can see inside the wiper arm that there's no rust on the arm itself. That looks like quite an intricate little route that you have to put this tube through to get it installed. So we're going to leave that in place. And there's a spring there that helps it return to position, and that looks in good nick as well. The nozzle for the wiper jet seems in good condition. There's a little bit of rust stain inside the wiper holder, but that is just a stain from the actual rust on the wiper, because this is just a piece of plastic, so no rust there. A little bit of paint popped off there. Not much I can do about that for now. As I say, these look like they've been painted at some point, so anyway, we can give that a clean up. That's fine. This is no use. That's just going to go straight in the bin. Anyway, that gives us a chance to just pop this piece of trim off. So we can see we've got a little locator here. We've got a tab there, a tab there, and a tab there, and another little locator here. Don't think these click in. They can just push out there. So if we press down on each of these tabs, we allow the trim to move, and once we've got all of them, gently pull that off. Just a little bit of scrape marks, light scrape marks. Oh, they just come off. They're just dust marks, if anything. No damage to any of the tabs. That's great. No damage to the paintwork, except maybe that tiny little scratch there. So that's all good. Clean that up. Now for the wiper motor assembly. pt1. So there's no more things to take off as of yet, and that's because what I want to do is just wash this. I'm going to use, I would usually use something like engine bay cleaner degreaser, or you know, some kind of heavy duty plastic degreaser, that kind of thing. I haven't got anything on me to use at the moment, not that I wanted to use, so what I am using is Auto Glim Interior Shampoo. It's definitely not meant for cleaning this, but it is meant for use on plastics and glass. I know it's going to be safe, and I know it's going to do a good job. So I'm going to douse this down now in this cleaner, and I'm just going to use, again, I don't have anything better on me at the moment. I wish I had a little detailing brush, but I thought I did, but I don't. So I'm just going to use this brush that usually goes in the end of a drill, that you can use for cleaning stuff. I may have used this a little bit for, or I used another one from the same set to clean the carpets in a previous video. But I'm just going to use this because I feel like it will, by hand, it will get into the nooks and crannies. Like I'm able to get down into that crack there to get rid of little bits of dirt and cobwebs. So if I can do that, I'm sure it will get into all the other nooks and crannies. So I'm gonna spray this on, go over with the brush, and then once I've done that, I'm gonna go and take it upstairs, and it's gonna have a little bath. Well, not a bath, but it's gonna have a shower. I'm gonna shower off the body, and should be looking nice and clean at that point. Not going to remove those clips. I don't know why they're there, but I'm not going to remove them because the bolts, the screws don't look very nice. They don't look like they'll come out very nice. I don't think they need to come out. So why give myself any headache when I don't need to? Anyway, I'll swap to a time lapse now because this could be quite boring, and then show you the finished product. Okay, I almost forgot. There's two vents on here. So this is the first one. It unclips from the body and then unclips from the hole. So that hole leads directly into the bulb area. So you want to plug that up for the rinse. That allows you to also clean behind here. Clean the actual vent itself as a separate part. There's another one here, identical. Pops off there and then pops out of here. So that will do the same thing. I don't know if that's a damaged one. No, it looks the same. So that's a hole directly into the inside the sealed area. So you want to just you know, block that up before you give it a shower. Also, something else I've noticed is that I can see a little bit of seal squishing out here where the cover is. So I'm just going to open this hatch and make sure the seal is sat in place and creating a good seal. Doesn't look like it was, so it's probably a good thing to check this and make sure it's in place before you go adding any water to the area. Let's pop that back in and then make sure that's sealed up. Let's do the same with this one. That one looks fine to me. So take this up for a shower now, and as you can see, it looks nice and dirty and grubby and just ugh. Looks like I pulled it out of a dirty puddle. Go and give this a shower off and see what we're left with after that. Okay, so we've had a rinse, and if you're going to do this, I would suggest using something more than I did to cover up your holes, because I managed to get a little bit inside still, but that's no biggie. Just going to have a chance to dry out properly, and I'm going to take the lens off now anyway to see if we can do anything about this deterioration of the reflector surface. So, flathead screwdriver, just eating these clips off. As you can probably tell, it's looking a whole lot cleaner. Give us a twirl. Alright then. It's not going to look the best now because it's still wet, but once we get it dried off, get some nice protectant on it, it's going to look lovely. Let's take these ones off. So that should now be not loose, but it should be openable. And then we can remove the whole thing there. Oh, it's half fused and half not, and so on and so forth. So there's a bit more cleaning to do around the edge, and there's a few droplets of water in here, so it's good that we're taking this off, get it all cleaned out nicely. We can see here that that's where the browning is from the burnt away reflective coating that was put on from the factory. I don't think there's anything I can do to get rid of that. That is a separate reflector to the main one. I wonder why they did that separately. Did they know that it was going to need recoating at some point? But it does feel metal, so it probably is something that can be re-tinned or re-silvered. I haven't got the resources or time to have that done, and it's probably not economically viable. It's probably cheaper to just buy a new headlamp unit. So if we pull this wire clip off, take the cover off, unclip the bulb. We've got H4 here. That comes out nicely. No excess corrosion, or no corrosion whatsoever on the pins or the plug, so that's good. I seem to have developed some hiccups. Next is this cover. That one can come off. A little bit of water in there as well. Yeah, it's always best to fully dismantle and dry out before carrying on with this. So we've got two of the same bulb in here. I think these are H3s. So we've got that disconnects the bulb from the positive. It's just a spade connector, but it's one of those spade connectors with a little locking clip. It's a little bit more difficult to get out. So take the locking pin out. That's our H3 bulb. Might as well just pop that back in place for now, stop it from rattling around or falling off. Do the same thing with the upper. That came out a lot easier. Bulb out. Clamp back in place. Then what we're going to have to do is, let me just double check which way up we are here. We're going to have to take this earth plug off. Obviously we can't quite get to the wire to reach that yet, so now on the front we've got a clip here, a plastic clip that allows us to bring this whole reflector unit forward if we move that out of the way. And we've got two at the bottom, one here and one here. So pull that back, and that one, and you can see that now loosens up the reflector even more. There we are. The reflector's come out, so we're just held on now by this earth wire. And now that we can get round to it, we can just wiggle that off there. There we are. So I'm just going to give this a wipe out very gently so I don't remove any more of the material. I'm going to give it a quick polish, and then I'm going to leave it to dry under a heater, under a gentle heat. Give that a couple of hours. going to do the same with the body of the headlight. This glass reflector can stay in place because it's connected to one of the adjusters. It is adjusted correctly, and I don't want to disturb that, and you know, there's not really any reason for it to come out. I can see that it's not causing any obstruction for drying out the unit, so that's going to be set to dry as well. Quite happy with that. Dry our covers as well, and we'll dry the lens after that's had another clean, and the seal's been cleaned and wiped, and everything inside polished with glass polish. Indicator unit, and we know it's very dirty, and you can just see there it's coming away. The seal's broken, but it's not unusable. That could be resealed, used for a while. Someone could get some use out of that, so I'm not going to destroy it. I might use it as I might keep it as a spare, but I'd rather have a nicer one on there. So we've got the two different layouts of the connector pins, and I'm not too sure actually whether these are interchangeable, whether you could get them in the wrong spot. In a clear lens, I don't suppose it'd matter. You just have the indicator lighting up in the wrong place, or in a different place on one side of the car to the other. I know the bulb patterns are different, so you can't get the wrong bulb in the wrong holder. But yeah, it seems that you can't put the wrong holder in the wrong socket either. Yeah, there's a different set of locking pins, so you can't go wrong here. Anyway, I've decided to buy a replacement indicator lens. I'm going to keep these bulb holders because they work and they don't come included in the new lens. So this is the new lens. I should say lamp unit. So that is pretty much identical. It's got the locating tabs there, the little clip there that you used to get it in and out, another locator there, and there's like a vent installed there. So this is a clear one, same as the one it's replacing. I'm gonna pop the old one in there, move that out of the way. So all that's left to do really is pop the bulbs back in. But I think we can do a bit better than that. I fancy upgrading to LEDs. Now you can upgrade to LED indicators, however you either need a very expensive, in my experience, indicator LED bulb that has self-contained resistor inside, which draws enough current to cause the flashing to happen at a natural rate, same as the filament bulb. Or you can, depending on the fitment, you can wire in a resistor to one of the wires. And I actually have a few of those resistors, but I don't want to start chomping away at the wiring and stuff like that. I've done it before, it does work, but I'm not that desperate to have LED turn signals, put it that way. So I'm just going to replace that with, just checking there, it's all nice and clean. Yeah, it's all nice and clean, there's no corrosion going on, which is great. I'm going to replace that with one of these, which is just like a chrome indicator bulb. It's still got a filament inside. It just looks a bit nicer, and it gives less of that fried egg look. In a clear lens, so you get less of an orange sort of look from when the bulb's not on. It gives you a cleaner look, and when the bulb does illuminate, it looks a lovely amber the way it should. And obviously, with it being a filament, it draws enough current to not cause the indicator system to start having a seizure. So that is that one. Now what I am going to do is just lubricate this O-ring seal here, and then just get rid of this dirt here. I don't want to start filling this with water, so I'm not going to wash it, but what I will do is use a little bit of what I've got here. I would have used WD-40, but I've mislaid my WD-40, so I've got about 10 tins of it somewhere, so I'm not buying any more. I will find it eventually, but I can't find it right now. So what I will do is use something on this plastic, which is vinyl rubber care. I know it's not for plastic, but it does work on plastics. vinyl is a type of plastic, and it does nourish it. So if I just give it a bit of a squirt, there's no, you know, I'm not dousing it in water there. I'm just giving it a bit of a squirt, and what I'm going to do is just get myself a microfiber and just wipe off the excess, and as I do so, I'm going to try and get into all the nooks and crannies and just remove all of that dust and that build up. It really isn't difficult to remove. The only difficulty is how intricate the shape is. But the good thing with this is you can just sort of drag it through the little passageways in the clip. And yeah, for the bits I can't reach, handy tip, a chopstick. Could use the blunt end of a bamboo skewer and just use that to poke your way around, you know, between the plastic outer casing and the terminal poles, and get into the corners, so on and so forth. There we are, it's looking loads better there. So it's not brand new, but it's clean, it's dry, and that's the most important thing. And then I'm just going to use a little bit of this just to go onto the rubber seal, and that will nourish that and stop that from drying out and perishing. Just tidy up after ourselves there. So now that is ready to accept the new indicator bulb. So which way around are we? We've got offset bayonet fit in here, so like that. There we are, we're in, and of course the body will only let us put that into one position, which is this one, and it's 180 degrees off, I think. There we are, that locks into place. Then just to aid in the condition of the plug, and to make sure that things don't get stuck like they were this time when I had to unplug everything and it was all very stiff to get off. Again, I would like to use a bit of copper grease here, but I seem to have not had that with me at the time. So to save myself some time, I'm just going to use some red rubber grease. It's completely not the right stuff. Will it do the job? Yes. Will it matter? No. That will aid the fitment of the plug without, it's not going to inhibit the electrical current, it's not going to do any damage to anything. So that's ready to go back in. Just need to do the same with this one. However, for this one I do have an LED upgrade. I didn't bother going with you know, the ones that come with integrated circuits to stop the errors coming up on a system that would monitor bulb failure. The Volvo does have a system like that. I don't know if it uses CAN bus, but it doesn't really matter whether it uses CAN bus, as long as it uses something that detects current, it will still trip if you put an LED in it that doesn't take enough current. Now, I know that in this case it will just come up with, it will just light up one of the bulbs behind the instrument cluster, which is fine. I'm just going to unplug the bulb and leave it be. You can spend extra money on you know, more complicated LEDs that do negate that error, but it's entirely up to you if you want to do the same thing. For me, I don't really bother. I find that unless you're spending top dollar on like a Philips or an Osram LED or something like that that's extremely expensive, then chances are the LED is probably only going to last a year or two anyway, and why would you want to pay 3 times the price to have it not give you an error when it's not going to last forever anyway? So I'll go cheap and cheerful this time. Maybe if I'm feeling like it, I might upgrade to something, you know, top shelf that will last a long time and do a good job. but I haven't even decided whether I like the look of it yet. So why spend money that you might not want to spend? Anyway, we're nearly there now with this. Slightly different shape, but it's getting in there just fine. And there we go, that's probably about as clean as it's going to get. So from there, again, just dip into some of the excess, pop that onto the seal. Then we're going to pop our LED in, that's also offset bayonet, and that is going to be located with that little pin. Yeah, there we are, that goes on. Nice little satisfying clunk. And again, just get those contacts coated in a little bit of red rubber grease. Why not? Let's just use red rubber grease for everything, just to annoy everyone that knows it's not correct. So that is now ready to go back onto the car. It's got the LED and the indicator fitted. We've cleaned up the bulb holders and rejuvenated the seals. We've checked that there's no corrosion inside. I've previously checked that all these bulbs work anyway, so we know that. And we've also protected the contact points. So we can pop that to one side and move on to the next item, which I believe is going to be the side repeater. So all you need to do with these side repeaters is push them in one direction, which pushes a spring, and then once you've done that you can pull this end away from the car. So push and pull. Once you've pulled it away from the car, you can pull this way, and out we come. So now what we need to do here is push this lever and wiggle this plug, sorry, out of the bulb holder. You don't have to do this. That's if you wanted to change the bulb, that is, you don't have to do this. You could just twist that and the whole thing would come out with the bulb on. You can pull the bulb out and change it. But we're gonna do a bit of a better job than that. We're gonna replace the whole lot. So essentially all of this can go in the bin, really. We don't need any of this. But that's what it is. Just a little T10 wedge bulb, I believe they call them. Push fit, lacquered, twist into there, plug goes on, clips in, and as you can see that's a little ridge that clips around the edge of the wing. So you push it away from that and you compress this in doing so, and it allows you to pop that out of the wing, and that's how you remove it. So that's that. This one should be an exact copy. So yeah, we've got the same connector, we've got the same bulb connection, and we've got the same body with no damage this time. You can just see it's a lot clearer. It just looks nicer when it's new. So all we need to do here is lube up our O-ring. Now I'm in a dilemma here. What should I use? Should I use vinyl and rubber care, or should I use red rubber grease? Ooh, the decision is so difficult to make, but I think we're going to go red rubber grease all the way. Just going to touch a little bit of it on these edges, and I'm just going to use my little finger to run that around the rubber seal. This is going to be really well sealed. So that's that sorted. Now we've got a nice new bulb here. I've gone with the same style, so it's like a chromed amber bulb. So we'll push that into the connector there. Obviously it doesn't matter which way around it goes because it's just a filament bulb. And again, with it being a filament bulb, it won't change the flash rate on the indicators because of issues that would be caused by an LED. However, I feel like it might be the case that the side repeaters are not enough to affect the overall flash on the indicator system. I think they're that low of a wattage usually that they, if you were to replace them with an LED, they wouldn't actually cause a fast flash. It's one of the main 4 corner ones that would. Either way, we've gone with this. So same thing on the contacts, why not? Let's pop a bit of red rubber grease on. So that is now ready to go back on the vehicle.